referring to women, the Buddha compares women to poisonous black snakes. The Buddha says women are impure, foul-smelling, frightening, dangerous, and they betray friends. They're wrathful, hostile, of virulent venom, double-tongued, and they betray friends. For the most part, they are adulterous. So this is what the Buddha says this is referred to in the Book of Fives, Sutta 229 through 230. And it's referred to in this text, in this translation, Bhikkhu Bodhi, the Numerical Discourses of the Buddha, a complete translation of the Anguttara Nikaya, published in
Okay.
2012. So that's the statement of the Buddha on women. The Buddha also states, women are lustful, profligate, vile, and degraded. Why be passion-tossed for a vile woman? So the Buddha instructs his followers to abandon women. Like, do not get married, do not pursue women because they're like snakes.
Okay. I will once read and in future I will let you know. I don't know the exact context of that where Buddha told women that they are snakes or something like that. And
Can I ask you a
regarding the
question?
Dhamma,
Can I ask you a question? Is there any
yes,
context in which that would be okay?
yes, there in some context it will be okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
can you make
to call the women snakes, black snakes, vile, venomous, abandon them,
No,
abandon women. Is there any context where that's okay?
let me give you one example for understanding. Like, let's say I am talking about a knife. So knife has both disadvantage and advantage. A knife can be used for murdering people and for cutting fruits, vegetable. So maybe we can tell the disadvantage that all knives are used for murdering people. So it is one type of disadvantage we are speaking, but that doesn't mean that it is all knives are bad only. It is
okay,
only one side of it.
do you find an analogous example for men? Like, is it why only women?
Yes, men also have some negative sides, like
No, that
they
the
are
Buddha
very
is
much
saying. That from the Buddha. We want to hear what the Buddha has to say about this.
Not some men or some women, right?
It's like all women. He says all women are
I
wild
think a
snakes.
lot of those
Why the context? Why Buddha is saying this? Just for context, for people who don't know Buddhism, the Buddha is encouraging you to abandon everything. Abandon, not only just worldly possessions like your wealth or your house. Abandon your wife. Abandon your children. And the Buddha actually sold his children. He gave away his children into slavery. That's how pure the Buddha was in abandoning everything in his life, including his family. Why? Because if you truly want to achieve that kind of nirvana, or you want to achieve that kind of state when you die, then you have to abandon everything, including your family. So that's what the Buddha is encouraging you. Like, don't be attracted to women. Don't pursue women. They're snakes. So why would you even want to be with them?
regarding the point that you say that we all live world and all that. So Islam also teaches, like I see many Sufis, like they also leave everything behind and live a spiritual life. So don't you see that means
Not women
is
and
also
children,
something similar?
or even wealth. And if it is, it's only temporary as a training.
Yeah, so the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that I marry, I fast, and I eat, and I pray at night, and sometimes I sleep. So, or the Prophet ﷺ said, I marry whoever abandons my sunnah is not of me. So if someone abandons women and says, I'm never going to get married, because that's some of the followers of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that initially. They said that, well, we're going to just fast every single day and we're going to pray at night. We won't sleep and we're not going to get married. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that this is not my sunnah. You're not of me if you don't get married. So that's
And
not
the only
actually this.
leaving of everything that's ordained in Islam is like the last 10 days of Ramadan. If as a sunnah you can spend them in the masjid and put yourself, but that's only a temporary 10 days and that's also optional.
But see, everyone like has a different perspective. Like we believe that all these worldly possessions like family, friends, money, wealth, these are all us distractions. Like we think like that. But maybe your perspective is different
we
in the
we
world.
also we also have an idea of zuhud and asceticism, but that doesn't mean
Yeah.
leaving your family. Rather, one idea is that you cannot be a true ascetic without getting married, because for a lot of people, because to be an ascetic, it means that when you pray to God, you feel very close to him. At least in Islam, you feel very close. You're not distracted, you're not disturbed. If you're just single, you find this characteristic in a lot of in most single people, that they're distracted, right? So when you marry, then your heart is satisfied, you're settled, right? So now when you pray and you do your worship, you have more sukoon in your mind, and you're able to worship better. So
And this is
marriage
not
can
the
actually
problem
help you.
of ascetic with everything around us. To be ascetic and to that's actually a higher level, because if you don't have anything around you, then you're not really being ascetic. You've just nullified everything around you. And
No, but there's a bigger problem. Like with the Buddhist type of asceticism, the bigger problem is that if everyone took the Buddhist path and abandoned everything, then you couldn't perpetuate human beings. Like
Yeah.
humanity
Not
could
even
not
then.
That's
function. You
something I
couldn't.
wanted to ask as well. Yeah.
Like this is the problem with Buddhism and with Buddha specifically. Like Buddha can go and abandon the world and he can go live in the forest because because he relies on the rest of society to have soldiers to defend the lands, to have police to defend from criminals, to have people who get married, to have children, to perpetuate the Buddhist race. Like, the Buddha is kind of slacking. Like, he's just offloading, he's outsourcing all of those important tasks to the rest of society while he goes into the forest and achieves nirvana, or tries to achieve nirvana. Like, we don't accept that in Islam.
Isn't
In
that like
Islam,
a self-defeating sort of
yeah,
theology then, right?
yeah, it's completely self-defeating.
Self-annihilating,
What the Buddha teaches is completely impractical, and it requires a kind of hypocrisy, because the Buddha can just chillax and pursue his spiritual pursuits while there others are pulling the weight of society and doing the quote unquote dirty work. So that's not a sustainable model. Like, that's why we don't follow the Buddha.
But there is one thing you have to admit, that the possibility of doing bad things and doing crime are in people who are not aesthetics. Like, if you see a monk, there is a high possibility that he won't do anything bad or anything, as compared to a normal person living in a country,
Yeah,
because he
but
already abandoned that.
you have to have a way to block bad people. You have to have a way to punish bad people. You have to have a way to hold them accountable. And you can't do that if you're just in the forest trying to achieve nirvana. That's my point.
And that's actually not true. Like in Myanmar and stuff, all the genocides and things that are happening there's a lot of Buddhists involved in that. So what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, Buddhists have a long history of participating in genocide. Like, you have the
Yeah, I
Japanese
mean,
Buddhists. They're participating in the genocide of Indonesian Muslims, actually. Myanmar is now the current example. You have Buddhists committing all kinds of atrocities against the Rohingya.
yeah,
So why aren't
yeah,
they
but
following the example of Buddha then? They need to just abandon
actually, like,
society and go in the abandon the nation state and just go live in the forest. Like, I don't understand why they're not following the Buddha.
I mean, yes, yeah, at some point you are right that all people can just leave everything and go. Like, the whole world will become unfunctional. Yes, I agree to some point regarding that.
That's
But
the beauty of Islam. Like, our prophet, peace be upon him, Prophet Muhammad, he actually did go to war to teach us what is the correct way, the righteous way to conduct war against those who want to destroy you. The prophet, peace be upon him, did get married to show us what is the proper marriage for people to have. Like, what is the correct gender roles to have in a marriage so that you'll have a successful, fruitful, godly, righteous marriage. The prophet, peace be upon him, had children to show us what raising children means. The prophet, peace be upon him, was a judge. He did judge amongst people so that he would teach us what is the correct justice to implement in society. But someone like Buddha never did any of that. Jesus Christ didn't do any of that, because Jesus Christ's example wasn't meant to be implemented on that kind of societal level, and he wasn't the final prophet. So this is the kind of critique that we have as Muslims when people claim that Buddha is better than the Prophet Muhammad, or Jesus Christ is better as a model than the Prophet Muhammad. This is the response that we would give.
yeah, you said some points, right? I will like think about it once. And regarding the Myanmar, I wanted to talk about like that. I studied the history of Myanmar. If you see that their history during independence, the Rohingyas illegally came from Bangladesh to Myanmar, and there they have illegally settled. After that, they have conducted many like terrorist insurgency attacks after post independence. That led to the triggered the Myanmar army to do like genocide. If you see proper history, if you see.
Like, that's exactly what
According
Israel claims as well. Israel claims that, oh well, there was an attack, therefore we can commit genocide. Like, I don't understand the logic
and
of that.
and according to your
No, no,
teachings, how are you, like, if you were exemplifying the teachings of Buddha, how are you instructed to respond in, even in such a in such a situation?
like our religion teaches all to do self defense. Like, if someone try to harm you, then you have full right to defend yourself. But yes,
This is
there are
false.
some innocent
This is not Buddhist teachings. This is not what Buddha says. You know about the parable of the saw?
no.
So the Buddha says that there are some thieves that are coming into your house at night, and they attack the Buddha and they hold him down and they strap him in, and then they torture him by taking a saw and cutting off his arms and his legs slowly. And the Buddha teaches that when you're being tortured in this way by these thieves, you cannot hate them. Your mind has to only be full of love for these thieves. You cannot hate them. You can only love them. This is what the Buddha actually teaches. So there's no self-defense here.
Yeah, but like you can do self defense even with having these thoughts of love and compassion. There is no
Okay.
restriction in it.
So it's like Christian love where you can genocide people and say that you love them. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
no.
you're
If
just
you see like
So we have
No,
to
if like
update the expression. There's no hate like Christian love. There's no hate like Buddhist love. You have to add that to the to the roster of mottos. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you coming on, Johan. Next time we'll continue next week, but for the sake of time, we have to move on.